Large infrastructure projects rarely collapse suddenly. They drift. Budgets expand. Timelines slip. Pressure rises. Teams work harder. The system performs worse. Most people call this an execution failure. Usually, the instability was designed into the project long before construction began. When delays appear, leadership adds pressure, more staff, more overtime, more urgency. The assumption is simple: more effort will stabilize the system. Usually, it does the opposite. Effort can temporarily hide instability, it cannot remove it. The project becomes louder, not stronger. Everyone feels busy while the structure continues drifting toward failure. The visible problem looks operational. The real problem is architectural. This is where most people freeze. But at Solver Studio, we go to our toolkit, the Solvers 6. The tool here is reframing, perception. Reframing changes how the problem itself is defined. Project overruns stop looking like execution failures. They become design failures. That changes the question completely. Not why are people underperforming, but how is the system repeatedly generating this outcome? The focus shifts from blame to structure, from pressure to leverage. First, reframe the project itself. Most infrastructure projects are treated as construction problems. They are actually systems of logistics, coordination, and risk management. That changes the metric of success. Not raw speed, system stability under pressure. A delayed component is rarely the real issue. Usually, it exposes weak dependencies, missing buffers, or fragile feedback loops inside the design. We stop measuring effort, we start measuring resilience. Next, reframe competence. In unstable systems, teams blame workers or managers for delays, but real competence is not forcing weak plans to survive. It is identifying structural fragility before it scales into crisis. That changes accountability. The goal is no longer protecting arbitrary deadlines, it is protecting system integrity. Teams become more willing to surface risks early instead of hiding instability behind frantic activity. Finally, reframe the solution itself. Most organizations respond to failure with expansion: more people, more budget, more pressure. The better response is redesign. Treat the project plan like a living system, not a fixed document. Strengthen feedback loops, build correction mechanisms, reduce fragile dependencies. The conversation changes. Not how do we force recovery, but how do we prevent this structurally? Reframing changes the physics of the problem. Project overruns are rarely labor failures, they are design failures. Reframe the project as a system. Reframe competence as structural awareness. Reframe solutions as redesign instead of pressure. The goal is not harder execution, it is resilient architecture. The same pattern appears in personal work life. Someone keeps accepting more commitments until burnout becomes inevitable. The response is predictable: work harder, push through, become more disciplined. But the real failure is structural. Their system has no capacity controls. Tasks keep entering, nothing exits. Reframing exposes the flaw immediately. The problem is not effort, it is an intake system without boundaries. Once the structure changes, stability returns naturally. Reframing creates leverage over complexity. It reveals the structure beneath the chaos. When pressure escalates, the first interpretation is often wrong. Most recurring failures are generated by the system itself. Stop forcing unstable structures to outperform their design. Correct the architecture first. The symptoms usually fade afterward.